Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Videomail for the week of July 6, 2015. Welcome to the site to you new members, and welcome back to the old members. The Ask Videomail is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one, but I need your question if I'm going to answer it. So please send your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I go through all the questions and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. There's no such thing as a stupid question at all, and it is the best way to get the most out of the site. Welcome. It is a beautiful day today. I went on a big long run. Very excited about that. Man, I love running. But gotta take care of yourself. I thought I'd just mention one more time, if you are freaked out that I'm sitting down, I split my time between sitting and standing these days. I overdid it with the standing. My chiropractor and I agree that if you can't go longer than like half hour sitting without your back tightening up, you probably have been standing too much. You need to get a little bit more of a balance. So make sure you always have balance, no matter what it is. If you're sitting, take breaks, stand up, stretch, move around. If you're standing, sit down, take a break, stretch, etc. So, but at any rate. And normally I start my day sitting, so that's why, Monday morning, bright and early. That's why the video mails are probably going to be me sitting from now on. But don't let it fool you. I still have a balance of sitting and standing. That is probably all the news. There are some things. There's always things, right? I'm always telling you guys about things you should cross your fingers for. It's no different. I know you guys are pulling for me. I got a lot of support. I got a great community here. I've got a great community outside of my site on Facebook and Twitter and whatever. A lot of super supportive people. So I know you guys are pulling for me and for the best. But I'm hoping to deliver to you guys industry-changing news at some point during this summer, and it will truly be industry-changing. So. Let's all cross our fingers for that. Any rate, before I get I go too long here, let's get to the question. Thank you for saying that question. And so let me kind of frame everything that I've said in terms of the tools that you should be using. If you're getting along fine, as you put it, with the graph editor and the timeline, then any way that you are getting the results that you are happy with, that is fine to use. In my experience, however, there are some quirks about the graph editor and the timeline especially. There are some quirks that make it so that you're not able to get the speed and the sort of set it and forget it kind of workflow method that you can with the Dopesheet. And when you talk about, in games, there's something called min-maxing. So what min-maxing refers to is making it so that it's typically talked about in role-playing games or MMOs, where you, instead of like going for like the aesthetic choice or the kind of cool choice or whatever, you make every single decision based entirely on the hard data and the raw stats of what that choice is going to give you in terms of an advantage. Okay, so In Warcraft, that might mean, like, instead of getting the badass looking, armor that is, glowing and has wings attached and whatever, you might actually opt for an armor that doesn't look cool, or an armor that's mismatched to all your stuff and whatever, just because it gives you like 0.5% better stats overall. And everyone else looks like, totally matching, and they look awesome, and they're riding around like superstars, and you look like a hobo, but actually underneath all that clunky mismatched armor is actually like 0.5%, and min-maxers, they go for that. No matter what it is, they want absolutely the max stats that they can get. Okay? In another game called DayZ, there's this professional player who likes to min-max his stats on that game. And in that game, you can get a backpack. And the bigger your backpack is, the more stuff you can carry. Well, he's the sniper on the team. And so he actually doesn't carry a backpack. And you would think to yourself, well, if this is a survival game, if you need stuff, you're not going to have anything. But he has much better luck, because when you lie down, your backpack sticks up into the air. And so he can't sneak through the grass if he's got a big backpack on. So the rest of his team has to carry in their backpacks all of the stuff that he needs. Extra ammo, health kits, and that kind of stuff. So that's min-maxing. I kind of feel that the same attitude should be taken in animation. There's no reason to stand on pride. There's no reason to, and I'm not saying that that's what this animator is doing at all. I'm not trying to insult you, but there's no reason to, like, if other animators are giving you funny looks because you're getting out the oldie moldy Dopesheet, which hasn't changed in like 10 years in Maya or any 3D program. It's always been the same thing in every single 3D program. If they're giving you sideways glances, well, that's great and all, but really, if you want to min-max your animation, then you have to do everything to take advantage of all of the little shortcuts and time savers that you can. So let's take a look, and I'll show you what a few of those are. One thing that is totally, a little bit of a pain in the butt is that if you want to move a key around, you have to shift click on it and then drag it. All right? And then deselecting, you have to click off of it. All right? With the Dopesheet, it's different. With the Dopesheet, you don't have to shift click on anything. You can just grab the key and move it. And selecting another key and middle mouse dragging is as far as time goes, it saves you 2 clicks and a button press. You don't have to have the shift key pressed down. Okay? So the fact that you can't, and also you can, if you have one selected, you can drag anywhere. So the little bit of time it takes to move up to from wherever your mouse is back over to here and to move it, or actually to compare apples to apples here, to if you're right here and you want to retime this, instead of clicking over here and being able to, you actually have to take the time and wherever your mouse is, move it around. Okay? If I click on this one, I have to then shift click on it to select it. If I shift click over here, that saves me one deselect, but that's still one extra click over the Dopesheet, what the Dopesheet allows you to do. Okay, so it's totally amazing in that the movement of keyframes in time has been absolutely min-maxed in the Dopesheet. Here's another problem. In the Dopesheet, let's look at the graph editor for just 1 second. Okay, I have this last keyframe, which the ball goes all the way back over to the left of screen. Okay, it's down here on 14 and it's up here on 21. Okay, in the Dopesheet, when I drag and release that keyframe on top of the other one, it actually replaces that key. You see that? Let me do it again. So here's that last keyframe. I'm just going to, and I don't even have to click, accurately on it. I can just move it by clicking right here. And now look, they're one on top of another in the graph editor. I'm going to let go. Boom. It's only the one that I wanted. Okay, that's the one that I wanted, and there it is. Okay, same thing if I drag this one. Let me show you what I mean. Watch it. It's on top of that last one, and then boom, it actually replaces it. Okay, now in the timeline, if I do that, if I grab this one and I move it on top of this one and let go, look, it actually didn't work. You have, and I have no idea why. I have no idea why. But you actually have these two keyframes, and Maya can't even zoom in on it accurately. You have these two keyframes, one right up against another. Now remember frame 21? Frame 21 was the ball was up over here, right? So I'm on frame 13 right now. I just dragged frame 21 over to frame 13, and look what's happening. On frame 13, it's still down here. It's supposed to be up here, but then I go to frame 14, boop, it's up there. Why? Because like this inexplicable distance or time change is still preserved. Doesn't matter which direction you go either. And that's because the timeline doesn't replace when you drag one over another. I think it's because, actually, I said I have no idea, but my guess is because when you're sliding in this, you're actually scaling the time in between them. You're actually moving and compressing the time, and when you let go, Maya can't have zero time between them. It doesn't know what to do. So the Dopesheet, there's no time scaling going on. Whereas the timeline, I think they wanted to make it, super easy to visualize scaling time and stuff. Okay. Now, moving multiple keys, also still super easy to do. It's really just a matter of min-maxing every single thing that you're doing in your animation. Okay. Not only is it faster just to click on, it's faster to visualize. Just like the graph editor, okay, the Dopesheet, if you want to move stuff around on the graph editor, you can do that. But just like the and look, it doesn't work in the graph editor either if you do it. See, it just lays it right on top of it. The timeline, you have to, set your timeline and type in your values and whatever. The Dopesheet is, it's just like the graph editor in that you can zoom in and you can always have all of your keyframes at your fingertips. And lastly, you don't have to have the object selected. Okay, if you just go to view scene summary, okay, I would have to select this to get my curves and to get my keys on the timeline, right? But I don't have to have it selected if I want to use the scene summary. All right, and so when you're doing your tempo pass, your first tempo pass, the only keyframes are going to be on your helper object, right? And so you don't even have to have it selected. I mean, how much of a time saver is this? Just being able to just move stuff around and retime it. In fact, just cut it out, Cloud. Being able to actually move it while you're playing as well. That's too fast. Let's make it a little slower. Don't have to select anything. Don't have to move anything. Okay. So the original statement, the original caveat to everything that I've always said about workflow still holds, which is if your workflow is really working for you, yeah, sure, don't break everything to try tempo out or whatever. However, people who have still some ways to go perfecting their workflow, people who are still learning, which is all of us technically, but you know where you are on workflow. Maybe take up the mantle of min-maxing your animation and getting to a place where there's nothing that you can change that's small and easy to change that will give you more output. It'll just be the big things from then on that you need to work on. Those initial ideas, those good performance choices, etc. So that's how I feel about that. But if it's working for you, keep doing it. For everybody else, use the dope sheet. Okay? All right. That was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot for sending in your question. I had a lot of fun. I'm Kenny Roy. Good luck with your animation. As always, rock on.